Alright. Alright, I dig. I'm just gonna... Dang, I thought I was gonna do my whole board, but I'm probably just gonna do this wolf tonight, because this is a freaking trip. This is a journey. This is the walk. I was, we thought we knew what we were doing most of the time, and most of the time we did not. We just did things and tried things and hoped and emotionally managed the crap out of ourselves, being like, it doesn't serve us to be angry at people. It doesn't serve us to have these feels. How can I deal with them without dealing with them all over the person? Because just because I feel it doesn't mean it's their responsibility to change anything or do anything, like, how could I handle my half of it and let that be enough? And if there's ever a point where they choose to participate, that they get that choice, that I don't force it upon them, that I don't request it, I let it be whatever it is. And I think that's powerful. I think it's really, really special. To have that. I used to believe so many people were, how dare they, and how wrong are they, and how could they, and I'm not at fault here. This is not my problem. If they had done this, or they had been there, or if they had, whatever, that, this wouldn't be a problem right now. And the thing is maybe that's true, but you can't change those things. Neither can I. And you can't demand somebody else show up the way you want them to. I know we like to want that or expect that from people, but the reality is that's not real life. And the sooner we can let that go and just know that the only thing we have control over is ourselves, I feel like the sooner we will be able to find freedom in ourselves. Some people might find this through like forgiveness stuff. I personally find it through just communication. I think this color right here. And not always communicating with the person like you expect. Kind of like what I was saying, communicating what you're feeling to an inanimate object, so that not on somebody. I don't encourage you to do it on anybody, because then they will take on some excuse me, they might take on some of this stuff that you were thinking and feeling about that person, whether they know them or not. And that's not the point. You're trying to let go of it. You're trying to move past it. So let yourself have the experience alone. Let yourself be in it by yourself and let it go. Just let it go. Let things be. Let them heal. Know that you are enough. Know that you've done enough. Know that you've always been enough. Know that all the parts of your path, whatever they may be, however they may be, are yours, and they're in your highest and best good, even if you don't understand why yet. Know that they are the thing that's for you, the thing that's working on behalf of you. I'm going to add a little bit of black right now. Oh, that's a lot of black. It's okay. I just need a little bit. would be dope if I felt confident enough to paint all these black lines with actual paint. We'll see. Probably not, though. See my optimism. No, maybe that's my realistic side. Every now and again that guy comes out. The thing is maybe it's not worth it. Well, only you in your life can know that, you know? We are the only gauge of what our truth is, how it should be, where we're going with it all. The best thing we can do for ourselves is trust that inner voice, trust that truth, despite how different it might be than we expect it to be, despite how crazy it will seem to some people. Just trust the voice. Trust your voice. Trust the person inside of you that is passionate and strong and courageous. Don't be afraid to fly. Don't be afraid to succeed. Oh, I think that's meant to be. Well, I guess I should paint over it in a minute. There's a boo-boo. I might leave it. I might not. Actually, I think I like it. I'm going to add it over here. See, boo-boos that work on behalf of us. I think my boss said to work from the top down, and I kind of am, but I'm also kind of not. I feel like this was a very advantageous project to take on, and it's kind of fun to do this in front of you guys because kind of gives me that thrill of the walk where I'm doing something that I really don't know what I'm doing. It's a trial and error. It's a trusting the process. It's allowing things to be what they are. If it doesn't turn out, you know, at least I tried. And if it really, really doesn't turn out, I'll take it to my boss and say, help me. And that's okay too. But what if it does? What if it's more amazing than I could imagine? What if, when I'm done, you can just see into the soul of this wolf? What if it's one of those things where I finish and I feel like I'm on top of the world because I did something I didn't expect that I could do, and it turned out so much cooler than I could have imagined. What if the parts that look the hardest, that look the scariest, were really very best things? What if everything that you're afraid of is totally false? What if it's all waiting for you to just know that you're okay, that you've done it, that you've arrived, that you've shown up for the party. What if nobody's watching and it's okay for you to laugh and play and have fun and be you? What if it's okay for you to succeed? What if it's okay? Is that okay? That seems okay. What if it's okay? Actually, how is it different? 6s. What if we're all just here figuring things out? What if we're all just here learning? What if nobody's here trying to judge you? What if the most critical judge is you? What if I totally did these ears opposite and now I'm fixing them? Somebody noticed that. I know somebody noticed that. But you know what? Even if nobody did, or even if somebody did, I could leave it if I wanted to. Or I can do like I'm doing and make it something else. Because I can. Because why not? Because who's stopping me? Nobody. Because, you know, sometimes when we follow our hearts, it's not impacting all that many people. And by that, I just mean like, sometimes we're afraid of who we might hurt, who we might let down, who we might fall short for because we're being true to ourselves. And the reality is, it's like, a lot of the time, nobody's getting hurt. Nobody's feeling left out or falling short. Nobody's... See, look how much cooler that looks because I screwed it up. I think it looks way better. Let's give this up. I messed it up. You like how I still say stuff like that? After going through everything that I have, I still feel like I could be better, do better, say more, whatever. And maybe that's true. But I encourage you to see where you are actually enough right now, where you're being harder on yourself than's necessary, where there's just no need for that hardness on yourself. How does that look? I think it looks cool. It's kind of hard actually to get some of these strokes. Like my stroke noise. Sounds more like I'm popping something. This will be, you know what I like about doing things, especially things that I feel like I don't know how they'll work out, but I'm trying anyway. Nobody else will have done that exact same thing because it's me doing an experiment with myself. And that means no matter what happens, it will be 100% mine. And those things are typically the best things that I could be doing. Those are usually the things that work out the best. Those are usually the things that I'm most proud of and most surprised by. They're usually the things that are the greatest reward in my life. So I want you to think about, what are you going to do today that was different than yesterday? And when are you going to do it? Mel Robbins talks about the power of counting backwards from 5 and how you can use that to do whatever you want. If you want to get healthy and you don't want to eat XYZ, you can use your power of 5, 4, 3, 2, 1 and walk away from the cookie. And that's like a funny example, but I totally have my challenges with health, wanting to be healthy, but really loving sweets. So, maybe it's a matter of like, do we take on, like, yeah, maybe I walked across America, but let's take it to real life for a second. What about things that we're trying to go for that are changing habits, that are changing things in your life? Like, I got to step into a whole new life for a minute. What happens, now that I'm back in this one? What am I going to do differently? Because I've got a lot of the same, not all of the same. I collected a lot of beautiful influences on the walk. Beautiful people across the country that chose to keep me in their life after I finished. Thank heavens for them. But what about, like, what, all the things that are the same in my life that I now have to face? Because I thought stepping away from them would transform them, but it didn't. They still came back to find me one night, came back to them. And I think that's okay. But I think that we've got to decide what to do with it. Are we going to react the same? Are we going to do the same things? Or are we going to step outside of ourselves and try something bigger? Are we going to do something new? Are we going to express ourselves in a more authentic way? Are we going to allow people to be what they are and allow ourselves to do the same? Are we going to require more of ourselves or less? And maybe both is good. Have you ever considered how powerful it is? Like, I really struggled with depression. And for me, I leave that one for a second. For me, the most powerful moment in my depression that I can think of at the moment was probably because it's the one I want to share. Is when I was supposed to go to work This was like years and years ago. I was supposed to go to work, and I didn't have the willpower inside of myself to get myself out of bed. And I would do this like often. This was like a problem for me to get up and get to work. And mind you, I was working, early in the morning, and that made it even harder because had so much anxiety I couldn't sleep at night, being afraid I wouldn't, get up in the morning. And then I wouldn't get up in the morning because I hadn't slept at night. It was this horrible cycle. And I'm like, maybe find a respectful way to do this. Try this on your weekend so that you can honor and respect the people that are keeping you as employees right now. But I decided I'm not getting up. I am choosing to let myself stay in bed rather than be mad at myself for not getting out of bed. I'm just going to own the fact that I don't want to, that I'm not going to, that's just not happening today, and accept that. And not be mad at myself for it, and not sit there and scorn myself in my head about it later, but just own it and be like, whatever, this is where I'm at, this is how it is, I accept it, the end. And the thing that I noticed that was really, really powerful was that it was the first time that I went back to bed because I didn't want to get up. That I owned that I allowed myself those things. And after I did wake up again, I felt lighter. I felt like I could face the day, and I actually chose to get up at that point. I felt like, yeah, I should get up and shower. I should do something today. But before that point, man, I did not want to. I was not interested. I was not in it. I was not for it. There was no way. I was so depressed. I was so sad. But there was something so transformative about me just being like, honey, rather than beat yourself up about where you are, be where you are. Own it and let it be for today. Would I do it every day? Maybe not. Maybe though. Maybe I set my alarm for early enough that I can have that experience every day and rise later. Tell myself it's okay to go back to bed. Tell myself it's okay to feel what I'm feeling. I think that in and of itself is its own emotional management. Look at me still outlining some of these spaces. Hilarious. But I am grateful that it is filled in. That is very nice. Look at this fun thing unfolding by itself. It doesn't even know what it's doing. I don't even know what I'm doing. I think all of us want to give ourselves more permission to be those people. We all feel like we have to be so certain about what's going on. We all feel like we have to live in this facade of, I got this, or, some other facade. And I don't think that's true. This illusion that everything's fine. Because it's sort of in the power of admitting that it's not, that you find the freedom to change it. You find the escape that you were looking for when you finally stop fighting that it's there. So, I mentioned earlier we were house hunting. We got to put in an offer on a house and only found out that we may not be in a position to even get the house, which is too bad. It would have been a cool property if we are able to, or if we still don't know yet. But one of the things that was really profound to me was I sat down when all of this was coming up, and I was realizing that we thought we were in a position that we may not actually be in. which is really hard. I'm ready to be the queen of my own castle. But realizing this, figuring this out, discovering it, my first thought was, I refuse to let this take over my day. I refuse to let this be the crusher of my spirit today. You know, I finished my outfit for my engagement photos finally, which feels amazing because I have been working on that for a hot minute. And it was something that was also new and scary for me to take some shirts and splice them together into a new creation. But I refused to sink, which was cool. In the past, my depression would have been like, see, Amanda, it doesn't work out. Things aren't okay. It's not fine. Like, and I would